That night would be remembered for decades, not because of an earthquake, not because of a fire, but because something far more disturbing happened, something that made an entire city afraid to sleep. In a single night, 3 people were murdered. By morning, the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was frozen in disbelief. Newspapers carried the same question on every front page. How could this happen? And how did no one see it coming? October 23rd, 1987. The first body was discovered just after dawn. His name was Marcus Hale. Marcus was found inside his own garage. The door was closed, the lights were off, and something was terribly wrong. One of Marcus's hands had been severed. Veteran police officers, men who had seen years of violence, stood in silence at the scene. No one spoke for several seconds. The air felt heavy, as if the garage itself was holding its breath. Marcus Hale was known as a gentle man. He worked at a small local shop. No criminal history, no enemies. Friends and co-workers all said the same thing. He wouldn't hurt anyone. But one detail stood out. On the day Marcus died, he had spent time with 2 people, a woman named Laura and a man named Walter. By the time police tried to locate them, both were missing. A neighbor comes forward. As detectives questioned nearby residents, a 72-year-old man stepped forward. His name was Mark Harlan. Mark lived just 1 house away from Marcus. He told police he had seen Marcus that evening, talking with Laura and Walter. He answered every question calmly, politely. Too politely. Officers thanked him for his cooperation. At the time, there was nothing to suspect. The second shock. The very next day, Mark Harlan returned to the police station. This time, he wasn't a witness. He was a father. Mark reported that his daughter, Ellie, was missing. When asked why he hadn't come sooner, Mark explained that Ellie often stayed out late. She liked parties. Sometimes she wouldn't come home at all, but she always returned the next day. This time, she didn't. 2 days passed, no sign of Ellie. Now the police were uneasy. Too many disappearances, too many connections, all centered in one quiet neighborhood. 3 days later, early one morning, garbage collectors noticed something strange. A strong, unbearable smell was coming from a trash bag left outside a house. When they opened it, they immediately backed away. Inside was a dismembered human body. It was Walter. Police arrived within minutes. Word spread quickly, and when Mark Harlan heard the news, he didn't cry. He looked terrified. Suspicion grows. Detectives began to consider a disturbing possibility. Ellie had been close to all 3 victims. Had she been involved? Mark defended his daughter aggressively. She's a good girl. She could never do this. That night, police decided to watch the neighborhood quietly. No sirens, no marked cars, just eyes in the dark. Close to midnight, officers saw something that made their blood run cold. A familiar car moved slowly toward a deserted area. It was Mark Harlan. He stopped where there were no streetlights, no houses, no witnesses. The engine shut off. Mark stepped out into the freezing night and opened the trunk. He pulled out a large, heavy bag. The cold air made him cough. He glanced around nervously, then bent down. That's when shadows moved behind him. Police officers stepped out of the darkness. Mark froze. When officers asked what was inside the bag, he refused to answer. They opened it themselves. Inside was Laura's body. Mark Harlan was arrested on the spot. What the forensics revealed. During the examination of Laura's body, Investigators noticed a white substance around her mouth. At the scene, no assumptions were made. The sample was sent for forensic testing. The results confirmed it was semen, and the DNA did not belong to Marcus. It did not belong to Walter. It belonged to Mark Harlan. At that moment, the investigation took a terrifying turn. This was no longer just murder. It was something far darker. The truth comes out. During interrogation, Mark eventually broke. What he confessed left even seasoned detectives shaken. For 12 years, Mark had been abusing his own daughter, Ellie. She had tried to tell people, teachers, neighbors. No one believed her. Mark described his crimes without emotion. When asked why he killed Marcus, his answer was chilling. Marcus had once helped Ellie up after she fell. That simple act was enough. No one touches her, Mark said. No one. Why they had to die. Laura had suspected something was wrong for a long time. One day, Ellie finally told her everything. Marcus was there. So was Walter. They promised Ellie they would protect her. They planned an escape. They even got her out of the house. But years of trauma took their toll. Ellie panicked. She became confused, terrified of leaving. Eventually, they brought her back, planning to report Mark to the police. That same night, they confronted him. They threatened to expose him. Mark denied everything. He showed them fake medical reports, claiming Ellie was mentally unstable. Confused and shaken, they hesitated. That hesitation cost them their lives. After Mark Harlan's confession, the city prepared for a trial that many believed would finally bring justice. But justice never arrived. The night before his court hearing, Mark Harlan suffered a fatal heart attack in police custody. He died alone, without facing a judge, without hearing a verdict. For many, it felt like he had escaped punishment. But the story didn't end there. What happened to Ellie? Ellie was found alive. She had been hidden away by Marcus, Laura, and Walter the night they tried to protect her. When the truth finally came out, Ellie was taken into protective care. She spent years in therapy, quiet, withdrawn, haunted by what she had survived. Recovery was slow, painful, but she survived. Ellie eventually rebuilt her life far away from Milwaukee, under a new name, leaving behind a past that no child should ever have to endure. She never returned to that neighborhood. Some wounds never fully heal, but she lived. And that, in itself, was something Mark could never take from her. The city never forgot. Milwaukee never forgot that night. 3 people lost their lives trying to do the right thing, and a terrifying truth was exposed. Sometimes, the greatest danger isn't a stranger in the dark. It's someone trusted, someone close, someone inside the home. Stories like this are not fiction. They happen in real life. They happen in real cities. And far too often, they go unnoticed. If this story affected you, if you believe stories like this need to be told, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned. This is the first video on this channel, and many more true, disturbing stories are coming. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and never ignore the quiet warning signs.